Steve Jobs didn't create Apple. Okay. I touched on that in the academy to show you where Steve Jobs went.
It is not who you were at birth.
Where he went in India to sit with the shaman who would open up gates to give him information.
It's but a journey to serenity, to its completion.
Okay. So the more technology, the more access we get to freedom, the worse mankind becomes. To a degree where the Most High will say at one point, it's time. And at that time, the angels will enter this realm all at once. Every eye shall see. Elder Lawyer, let's get Genesis 6 and 4. Let's read it.
Yes, sir. Genesis chapter 6, verse 4. There were giants in the earth in those days.
Before, let's go to 6 and 1.
6 and 1?
Yes.
Genesis 6 and 1. And it came to pass when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born unto them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were fair, and they took them wives of all which they chose.
They took them wives of all that they chose. This is talking about the celestial. It's not talking about people on earth. The Catholic Church tried to cover the truth of the evil that came into the earth by claiming that this is the sons of Seth dealing or marrying the daughters of Cain. Well, that's a lie, because there was no law against that. There's no law against the sons of Seth dealing with the daughters of Cain. So they try to hide the fact that these were beings that came into the earth and caused chaos. These are the same gods the Catholic Church till this day burn candles to. The old gods before the flood are who the Catholics truly serve. They're not saints. They're spirits. The spirits that gives them ingenuity, technology, and insight on how to oppose God's people in the earth, or to oppress us, knowing that we were born to judge them. So there's two sides. Those who were born to go through the trials and be made like pure gold, to see things for what it is, to be a judge at the end of this. And those who would choose the technology and the ingenuity and the imagination that was taught before the flood by fallen gods. And they would actually take that side against us.
When I started dealing with ritually abused individuals, then we dealt with military-oriented, highly trained, programmed shooters and assassins inside of them. When we began to deal with them, I dealt with someone from Fort Bragg for quite a while and a few others. We were sitting in a lake, Conneaut Lake. They reached over and ripped open my shirt to see if I was wired, if I was wiring and recording them. And they were the most sophisticated satanic warrior type person. They knew 5-6 languages. They knew the ancient Twilight languages. They knew how to conjure. They knew how to use Belteshazzar, Okwam, all these old Pictish languages of the Druids to summon. They are the real Luciferian. They've been through many human sacrificial things. So they sat there to tell me some of those things, what they've been involved with, how they sacrifice a human. I'm listening to all this stuff from them. And then they said to me, you have no idea, Russ, how many of us there are out there. How many satanic, they use the term, chosen ones. You have no idea how many. You have no idea what's coming. We smell Christian blood. We are waiting for our day. And when the call is given, millions of us will be released. And they looked at me and said, you believe in revivals, and you believe in Pentecost and the power of God. You believe in all that. We believe in the Black Awakening. a multi-continental release of power to activate the program demonized, where they've weaponized the demonic powers to these super soldiers.
I know this sounds like something out of some far sci-fi, but no, that's what it is, folks. So when we see the struggle that our people are going through, we cannot see it like this earth would like us to experience it or see it and be depressed and, oh, woe is me. Why everyone else? Nah, this experience is giving us the power to judge, to understand the struggle, to understand what it is to live in substandard scenarios and see everything from a vantage point that most could never understand. Why do you think the Most High have taken us through all these trials and tribulations as a people, generation as a generation? Because that's the experience we'll need at the end of this, not only to help others out of it, but to judge those who caused it. But to judge those who caused it. Finish reading, Elder Lawyer, if you don't mind.
Yes, sir. Genesis chapter 6, verse 3. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he is also flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years.
Now, this is the piece that confused people to make people believe it's talking about man going rogue, man bad. He's going to lower the days of mankind's life expectancy. Nah, this is not what that's talking about. This is talking about years of jubilees. It's talking about a judgment on those who taught mankind evil. And through that evil, it led to all types of chaos to a degree where the Most High had to flood the earth. They began to make dinosaurs, Tyrannosaurus rexes. They began to make giant animals to feed the giants or Nephilim that came from the celestial and whom they would deem mortals. I mean, this is not just a Bible narrative. You can find this in secular or other Gentile history. I mean, the Epic of Gilgamesh speaks of this from the Nephilims or the giants' viewpoint. Technology comes with what? A trade-off. And I'm going to talk about that. How it's no different today. But when it says his day will be 120 years, it's not talking about life expectancy. There's people even after that who lived past 120 years. That's talking about 120 jubilees from the time mankind had a choice between good and evil. 120 jubilees. A jubilee, according to the Bible, is 50. 7 Sabbaths and then the extra day like the Passover. You got the Passover, you count 7 Sabbaths, you're in first fruits, 50. Okay? You had seven Sabbaths before we went into the Holy Land. And then Moses went to Mount Horeb to see the land. And we crossed in over Jordan into Israel, brothers and sisters, on the 50th year. A generation is 50. So you take that 120, you multiply that by 50, and that give you a time stamp the Most High have given before the judgment, that mankind must do what? Go through life and understand their purpose according to God with a standard. 120 times 50 is 6,000 years. It took that amount of time from the beginning of creation The beginning of time being created because the Most High is not subjected to it. The heavenly realm isn't subjected to our time. They come into our time once they what? Come through the gates into this earth. The heavenly realm, and when we die, and when we're in the spiritual realm is not subjected to our time and space. Time was meant for a judgment. It was meant for what? An appointment. So we're talking about 6,000 years because it took 6,000 before man was made and had that choice. He would have rested if Adam and Eve would have partook of that tree of life. But because he chose the tree of good and evil, and we're going to show you who introduced that choice, those spirits are still giving mankind choices today. I'm going to tell you right now, at the end of that 6,000, it would take, don't forget, because Adam partook of the tree of good and evil and not the tree of life, it would have to take another 6,000 years for man to be made as God intended. Now, this is the man that's worthy for what? The tree of life, the kingdom to come. So our life experiences and or choices like Adam and Eve's determine whether or not an individual is worthy of that reward. But then it comes down to, do you really believe? Do you believe in God? Because you can't say you believe in him and not find your purpose in him. Okay? You can feel and try to tell others. But no one really truly believes in God unless they find a purpose in him. That's when he becomes real in your life. That's when you understand the power that works on the outside of you. I guess that's a true meaning of a true relationship with God. So, Elder Lawyer,
Yes, sir.
I don't know if you want to say anything on that. Are you good or?
No, sir.
All right, great. Let's go to standard, because the Most High he's not going to judge someone. He will never judge a person without first, and I'm talking about the consequential side of things, consequences. Without people understanding there's a standard. Now, let me make it clear. The earth will not last. Babylon will not last because they have gone off from the standard. The balances have been tilted to evil without any pushback from those who believe in God. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to tell you, folks, it was at one time, folks. It was at one time that there was more good people and those who fear God than bad. So when people started to follow the ways of evil and tilted the balance to evil, that's when the Most High said, speed up the time. It's time to speed it up. Because they don't understand that they're on a suicidal trajectory. And if I don't give them less time than what was given, they would kill themselves. And I'm not going to allow these people who are making conscious choices against me to kill my righteous that are left for me. I'm not going to allow it. And that's why Christ said, what, in Matthew 24? When you go down to 13 through 22, it says, if he didn't cut that time short, that 6,000 years, no flesh would be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened.